San Diego State women's soccer hit the practice field, and then some of their players went to C-Booth Innovations to get a stress test. Each student athlete who did wore a new kind of echocardiogram created by C-Booth Innovations called an ECG. CBI says it's easier to use and gives more accurate data, especially for women.
If you're a woman and you're having chest pain, you're less likely to have an EKG done properly than a man.
Stephen Dunphy, an emergency room physician and co-founder of CBI, showed us the difference between the old ECG and the one they created.
This should terrify you. This is unfortunately how EKGs are done very commonly in women. So what you'll notice is we show how the electrodes are around the bra. And they'll do this, they'll go above and below the bra, right? But remember, the heart is sitting over here. So by going above and below the bra, this can hide over 10% of widowmaker heart attacks. Think about that. If I did an EKG on you with this on during a heart attack, there's a chance it won't show heart attack. So I won't get you the treatment you need, especially that widowmaker one.
That's Dunphy explaining the downfalls of the old ECG. Here's the ECG.
We just have a simple sticker, and all you have to do, number one, don't be afraid of exposing the breast. Find the ideal nipple line, and what you're going to find is by going on, you're already in the right place. Look how much lower that is, closer to the heart, and look how this goes around. So we make it so you can't get it wrong.
The student athletes came to try it out voluntarily. They mentioned Savvy King as a reason why.
I think it's so cool that she was able to kind of inspire other soccer players just to be aware of themselves and their hearts.
Savvy King is a National Women's Soccer League player who suffered cardiac arrest during a match due to a heart defect she didn't know about prior.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy experience for me. It's not something you ever expect to go through when you're 20 years old playing in a soccer game.
That's why when King found out about this new technology, she endorsed it and became an ambassador.
There's a lot more times where we could catch something early. What I had was something I was born with, and so I lived 20 years of my life with my condition, and I had, not known about it. And so I think that, having technology that further accelerates the process of learning about things that can possibly be caught before something has to happen, like what happened to me, is just super important. So I mean, this is just incredible to see how we're just progressing and hopefully being able to save as many lives as possible.
So if you can just pass me your cord.
Christian McClung, who is also a co-founder of CBI and an ER physician, explains why he believes this new innovation will make a difference.
Doing a screening ECG means it needs to be done accurately because these are people who are generally healthy. And about 1 in 50,000 athletes in the U.S. each year has a cardiac arrest during their sports activity. So it's not a very high percentage, obviously, that are having this, but being able to pre-screen and find those needles in a haystack and look at what their ECG signals are doing at that time helps us identify who might have structural heart disease and should then go on to have additional testing.
We looked at the test results for one of the players wearing the ECG who went through various difficulties on the treadmill.
So we look for these subtle changes in waves to be able to determine, does the increased physical exertion cause the electrical patterns in the heart to change and shift? Because those are the small clues to help tell us, do we have an athlete with underlying cardiovascular disease or not?
Yeah. But nothing in this case?
Nothing in this case. This looks great.
All the players that were tested were healthy. C-Booth Innovations' new echocardiogram technology gave these student athletes a peace of mind. They're all clear to compete on the field.